We're trying to do is we're trying to drive those levels higher with that bioavailability, and then therefore the flow-on effect is lower lactic acid levels, and that results in better stamina.
This lactic acid lowers the pH levels of the muscles and making them more acidic, which can lead to fatigue and decrease in performance.
Welcome everyone to episode 101 of the CEN Nutrition Podcast with your host Bryan and Peter today. And today's topic is the secret weapon against lactic acid in horses, the benefits of beta alanine. How are you, Peter?
Bryan, very well. The episode 100 has finished and the party's over.
Did it take it out of you?
No, we're going to abstain from drinking now for the next 6 months.
Everything in moderation, we know. And this topic is actually a real good one to kick off our over that century mark of the episode, because this is going to highlight something that can be added to a diet that may give that extra edge in performance for all our performance horse clients.
Yeah, and look, this is a prime example of what people have been doing previously with another product, which I'll explain shortly. And that other product has been sort of, used by generations and generations, and, that hasn't really advanced until obviously beta alanine has shown its face on the scene. And what I'm referring to is bicarb, bicarb soda.
Yeah, you mentioned the B word, and across a lot of performance horse jurisdictions, including racing, they have to test for this routinely because of the effects on lactic acid with this bicarb. But what we're trying to do is help lactic acid be lower in the horse in a more natural way that actually helps the horse in its recovery as well, instead of artificially by overloading with bicarb.
Yeah, 100%. It's more like a natural alternative pretty much, hey Bryan?
Yeah, that's right. And when we look at the science behind bicarb and what it does to the horse, it almost actually neutralizing that lactic acid artificially, and it pushes the horse past its natural limits to the detriment of the horse in post that performance. So today we're going to discuss the science about the beta alanine, but then also applications on best when to use it.
So Bryan, just after obviously the B word, you've got all our performance trainers on the edge of their seat, just obviously, saliva possibly coming down their side of their faces going, Bryan, this is too good to be true. Let's maybe let them know what beta alanine actually is.
Yeah, so beta alanine is an amino acid that is naturally present in the body of the horse. So when a horse produces carnosine, which is also stored in the muscles, the beta alanine acts on this if it's bioavailable, and then it helps buffer the lactic acid when it's produced during high intense exercises in the horse's performance.
Yeah, and just a side note on that too, Bryan, that beta alanine is not found in high amounts, typically in the diets. And this is where I think supplementation may be necessary to enhance those carnosine levels in the muscles.
Yeah, so when you look at the muscle of a horse, it does produce some carnosine naturally, but in this supplementation, what we're trying to do is we're trying to drive those levels higher with that bioavailability, and then therefore the flow-on effect is lower lactic acid levels, and that results in better stamina or less fatigue in a more natural way than what we previously said about the bicarb.
There might be some listeners out there who are not sort of too sure how sort of lactic acid works, and obviously that it's a byproduct. So I might just give a quick example here. So basically, when horses exercise, their muscles produce lactic acid as a byproduct, as I just said previously. This lactic acid lowers the pH levels of the muscles and making them more acidic, which can lead to fatigue and decrease in performance. And basically, beta alanine is used by the body to create a molecule called carnosine, which acts as a buffer to help neutralize that lactic acid and maintain a stable pH level in those muscles.
Yeah, that's well explained, Peter. And I think the listeners will be thinking, hey, hold on a minute, where's the science behind all this? Or is there any journal articles that we can refer to? And there is a key study in the Equine Vet journal, and it studied the influence of oral beta alanine in horses, and the result, and I'll put the link in the show notes, were that when the horses were supplemented the beta alanine, the bioavailability of this was higher in their system. And then what they did were they looked at all the types of muscle fibers in a horse. So you have the type 1, type 2A, and type 2B. And they took some cross sections of this to see the concentration of carnosine, to see if it actually had an effect on this. And in the results, they found that in these muscle fibers, there was significant increases in the carnosine concentrations. So this confirmed what was hypothesized, that a good quality beta alanine bioavailability in the blood system of the horse will really help those muscle carnosine concentrations. Then you have that flow-on effect where it buffers the intramuscular buffering capacity of the lactic acid.
Bryan, that's fantastic. There's actually scientific data just to prove the point that obviously beta alanine has those effects, that it's not just sort of smoky mirrors.
Yeah, 100%. We know every horse is an individual. They're going to have different effects with supplementation. They're genetically blessed with that brilliance of helping that lactic acid be lower naturally. You get these 1% athletes that will go straight to the Olympics in human terms, that they're just gifted. Whatever they've been given, they can cope within the performance. But what we're trying to do is get that nutrient profile right, and with the addition of this supplement, you're going to give the horse even its very best potential in their performance.
Yeah, that's very well summarised. I echo those thoughts. I want to give our listeners, Bryan, just a practical example of how beta alanine works. So we've gone through the science and obviously said the facts, but listeners probably go, well, yeah, but how does it work, like practically? So I want our listeners to sort of visualise this if they can. If they had, 3 bottles of Chardonnay, it's probably going to be hard. But let's just say, they haven't. So, for example, imagine a horse running a race, and as the horse runs, its muscles produce lactic acid, okay, which begins to accumulate and lower the pH of the muscles. And however, if the horse has sufficient levels of carnosine, which is what beta alanine builds, which can be increased through beta alanine supplementation, as I just mentioned, the carnosine can help to neutralize that lactic acid and then maintaining a stable pH levels in the muscles. So this helps delay the onset pretty much of muscle fatigue, allowing the horse to continue running for longer periods of time with less discomfort and possibly improved performance.
Yeah, that's well explained, Peter. I think the real good practical performance examples would be, especially in endurance horses and race horses, those long durations of intense exercise. There is definitely going to be lactic acid buildup, and this is just going to help that muscle health in general. What we really found in a few points in the research are benefits shown to horses with the improved muscle recovery, improved heart function, but also reducing muscle acidosis, so a tying up risk. So if you've got a horse for some reason genetically or environmentally is prone to tying up, you've got your nutrition right, they may need this as an extra help to help lower that risk in their performance.
Yeah, and Bryan, you obviously touched on there about nutrition. So how that affects lactic acid is, the more sugar, the more starch is in the diet, obviously, then there's a lot more chance that the horse is going to hit that wall a lot quicker. So what you want to do is, if you've got a diet, something similar to the CEN diet, what we sort of promote, which is obviously high in fiber, high in fat, you still do need the carbohydrates, obviously, for those glycogen stores, but it's all about getting the right balance. On the flip side, if you've got a diet that's very high in sugar, very high in starch, that horse is going to hit that red line a lot quicker, which means the lactic acid is going to be prone a lot earlier in that competition, and obviously the fatigue is going to set in a lot quicker as well. So then the benefits of beta alanine isn't going to be as good, where I think if you've got a healthy diet, then the benefits of feeding beta alanine alongside a healthy diet, you're going to get far better benefits.
Yeah, we're just trying to tick all those boxes to try and help the horse in every single way, especially under hard performance, because it can be quite strenuous, those long endurance rides or even long races, that recovery is so important after those, so you can go again in another performance. So it's not just trying to help that initial performance, but when we'll take you through how to feed it in the most effective way with the loading levels and then the strategies throughout your performance season.
So as we mentioned, this product is a great alternative to the bad B word, the bicarb. So it's not meant to be fed like the bicarb, obviously, 8 kilograms, the night before or something like that.
Yeah, we've had a lot of stories.
I'm only joking, but it's meant to be fed on a loading period. So the research we've done is to be loading the horse on a 30-day period, basically. Yep. And it's, to keep it simple, 10 grams of our product per 100 kilograms of body weight, and you can mix that into the feed. You can put that into their water. It's pretty tasteless and it's odorless. So a lot of horses will drink the water as well with it.
Yeah, that loading period is really important, that 4 to 6 weeks, because it just gets the muscles and the horse's body used to having that beta alanine bioavailable for then the carnosine levels to rise. And then when you do have your performance days, so your high intensity training days or your race days, you offer it into the feed on that morning as close to the performance time. And there's other strategies even when you have your stops in each of the endurance races after the 20K, 30K, 40K. It's also an idea to have some sort of level of beta alanine there, because there's a window of about 4 hours that'll work in that performance at its best. Like it'll still be there after there, but that's what the research is showing.
And it's a great point. And for the endurance people, obviously they have the drink stops and a vet check. So, putting in the 10 grams or, whatever the weight of the horse is into the water itself is a great way to top up hydration, but also get the benefits of the beta alanine.
Yeah. And as you guys know, at CEN, we strive to get the best quality product that we can get on the market. And it has taken a while to find the best one, the quality that we're fussy with. This is a human grade product that we're really proud to bring to market, and I think it can really have a great addition to all performance horses.
Yeah, and look, Bryan, for some of our listeners that might not know, like beta alanine's been around in the human scene for 15, 20 years. It's proven in science as well on the human side of things. So it's not like it's just fallen out of the sky and, we've picked it up and trying to convince everyone that they need it and that it works. So the research from the human side has been there. You obviously mentioned the journal as well there for horse nutrition, that it has as good benefits for the horses as it does for the humans. So to me, it's a no-brainer. If you're in a performance field industry, competitions, endurance, I think is a must. You need to be on this product, obviously, throughout that competition period.
Yeah, and it actually came on our radar a few years ago, and what we're trying to do is get everyone's foundations right with their nutrition, and then we evolve with our supplements, trying to tick those boxes with the science. But as Peter and I, we do really interact with a lot of high-profile horse trainers and endurance trainers as well. And it did come out on our radar lately, and the performance they have seen with it, they wanted the best quality product from CEN, and this is what is the result within the market.
Yeah, and the way for our owners who sort of might be curious to know whether there's any sort of telltale signs how it works is maybe get a teaspoon, fill it with half of the beta alanine and just put it on your tongue and wait 10 seconds and let us know what you feel.
Yeah, Pete, I think you're referring to that tingling sensation that we all feel when we have it, and it's called paresthesia. And this is quite normal. And what it is, it varies from person to person. You might find that tingling, it means it is working in it. And yeah, it's only a temporary thing and perfectly normal response from the human body with no harmful effects.
Yeah. So obviously, if you're going to try that trick, don't get scared if your tongue starts to tingle, or your lips as well.
Yeah, it's quite funny.
It's working. That's the sign.
And we have a few of our team members here that do sport or as an extracurricular activity, and one of them noticed his tennis backhand was even better, and he played for a lot longer than he normally did. So we know the science behind it, and we just got to adapt it to that individual horse. And if anyone has any questions, they can reach out, because this supplement is perfectly legal in all jurisdictions, and we pride ourselves on the quality too.
Yeah, it's legal and it's not swabbable. And the other parting notice that it is a light supplement, obviously, of ours, and it's free freight Australia-wide, obviously, from the CEN store. Yeah,
we'll have the product link in the show notes so everyone can have a look into it. The journal article link is there as well. I think that's about it, Pete.
I think we'll get prepared for the next one, Bryan.
Yeah, it just feels like those 100 episodes really flew by. But I think summer's kind of hanging around now because it's a bit hot and time for lunch.
You might want to go for a sunbake, Bryan.
We've got a bit of work to do, but yeah, no, all good. So we will have a podcast to you guys again really soon. We'd like to thank everyone for all your support, particularly everyone in the CEN users group. We're trying to help each other get access to the CEN products in the best possible way, getting everyone value, but also helping everyone with any questions that they may have.
Yeah, I echo those thoughts, and I wish everyone as well a long weekend, and hopefully we'll see you again in the next week or so.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye.